Hello and welcome back to another episode of Spanj's Build Academy. And I'm here in space yet again at this little CV that we're putting together as we progress in this series. In today's episode, we're talking about signal logic, and this is a really difficult one. Now, straight off the cuff, I don't know everything there is to know about signal logic. Okay, my knowledge of signal logic is fairly basic because I've never really required anything more than that to do the signals that I want to. So I'm going to try and explain as much as I know about signal logic here, but if you're after something more advanced, you might need to look elsewhere. I know that Live Pizza has done a good video on signal logic as well at some point, so it might be worth checking that out. But let me take you through at least what I know about signal logic and how to set it up, and this is a fairly basic tutorial. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need when you're working on your ship, base, HV, you obviously need your sensor and signal blocks relevant to that build. You're also going to need at least some devices that you actually want to tie into these signals. So that could be anything that pretty much has a state of on, off, or open, closed. As you can see here, I've configured this sensor, this motion sensor on the ceiling right here to activate these lights, and they're set to follow. So if I turn off God mode here, I've got some gravity. As I enter the motion field, those lights turn on. As I leave, they turn off. It does unfortunately mean you have this annoying beeping noise everywhere you go. Lights aren't really, for me, I don't really see the point in tying lights into signal logic all that much, but for demonstration purposes, I have done. How did I do this? Well, I need to extend that field apparently. We'll come across that in a minute. There you go. Right, so the first thing to do is obviously once you've got your devices in place that you want to involve in your signal logic, go up to them, look at them, and press P, then devices, and it will take you to that device. Okay, so from there you can go to signal logic. You go to signal logic, you then have the opportunity to configure signal. But before we do that, what you first need to do is go to your motion sensor or whatever sensor block you're using, and I'll show you a few more later. And you need to give it a name. Basically, you need to say this motion sensor here is this name. So I called it forward lights because it's the lights on the front room of the ship. And then you go to the light blocks so that you're in a relevant group, and you set them all to that signal with the follow parameter. Now you can use the toggle parameter you can use on or off. Follow means that basically as the signal is activated or deactivated, the lights turn off and on. Toggle is once you activate the signal, they are active, and then you have to completely reactivate the signal again for them to deactivate. On means as soon as you activate the signal, the lights will come on permanently, and off, they'll go off permanently. So you can set a manual signal flow that will essentially do what follow does, but with multiple triggers. So you might hear me refer to the motion sensor here as a trigger, because ultimately that's what it does. It triggers the circuit. The other motion sensor blocks you can have a lever, you can have a light barrier, you got trigger plates, and there are some trapdoors and stuff in here, multiple use and single use ones, if you want to get inventive with traps and stuff in your base. Now the most common one are your lever and your motion sensor. I think light barrier is fairly limited, and trigger plate, is only really used for bases. So let's create a new circuit from scratch so I can show you how I set this one up. Okay, this one's just an example. So let's head back to the ship here. I've built a few more bits and bobs around just to give the ship a bit more completion. So I've got this little hangar bay at the back here. With this door, and we'll do something with this door in a minute. But first of all, I wanted to do this light here. So I'm going to put this light in a group. So first of all, let me create the group. I'm going to call it hangar light. Okay, and I'm going to add this light here to a group called hangar light, just like that. Now we should see that one light is in this group. Now it has this configure signal option, but I haven't got a trigger yet. I don't want it going off on the forward light switch because that's nowhere near here. So I'm going to need to put a new switch in. And I'm going to use motion sensor again because that's most relevant to this area. I'm just going to pop it on the ceiling there. If I look directly at that and hit the P menu, it brings me to that motion sensor. Now I can call this hangar sensor. Okay, and then go to the hangar light, select hangar sensor and follow. And that means so long as you are in the sensor field, which I don't think I've configured big enough, it will set the light on. So let's configure that sensor field. If you go back to the P menu, go to your motion sensor, you've got this interactive setup thing here. If you click that, you get this weird box. That light ever on, or is it? There we go, it is on, right, okay. So yes, you can see the area of influence that this motion sensor has. Quickly go into God mode, we can see the full extent of that box. It goes out the hangar a little bit and in about this far. We want it to come in a little bit more than it is. So on the right, bottom right side, we can see the instructions for this interactive mode. I've got to hold down left control and then use the number pad to tell you which one to use. So I'm going to assume it's 2, which is backwards towards me. There we go. So as long as you're in this hangar bay, that light will be on. As soon as you exit it, it will turn off. I hit escape, it brings me back out of that and into the regular game. So if I fly towards this hangar bay now, I'm in the area of influence. That light turns on, it stays on while I'm in it, and because it's set to follow, it'll only turn off once I leave the area of influence of that motion sensor. So there we go, that's basic, very basic signal logic, using a sensor to turn something on or off. And that's again with the follow. If I was to set that to trigger, let me show you what toggle does. I go back to P, back to signal logic, and then the light, I can set that to toggle, like that. Now we can notice how it's on at the moment. If I leave the area of influence, it stays on. Because it requires the signal to be completely activated from scratch in order to toggle the light off. There you go. I've gone in, I've gone out, hasn't changed it. If I go in again, it changes it. Out, doesn't. In again, does. Yeah, get the idea? Okay, so that's why I like to set things to follow, generally speaking, because then it stays on and then turns off when you leave. It follows the signal. Signal is active while you're in it. It is not active while you're out of it. Okay, the same, what you might use toggle for is the light break ones, the light barriers would be a better one to use toggle for. Let me demonstrate that for you now. I'm going to put a light barrier right here. Okay, so I'm going to call this one, I hit the P menu here, light barrier. I'm going to call this one engineering light. Okay, and that has a slightly different noise when you activate it. It goes bididip. So I've got a nice green light in engineering here, and I'm going to set that to engineering light, and I'm going to set it to toggle. Okay, and toggle is going to work a little bit better here. Let me just go around the light. Toggle is going to work a little bit better here because as I break this light barrier, it turns it on. Now I can wander around the entirety of this engineering section, and there is only one way out of this engineering section. Okay, so once I'm done in here and I leave, break the light barrier again, the light turns off. There's nobody in engineering. Now obviously this works for single player. In multiplayer it becomes a little bit more complicated because more than one of you enter the room, you end up turning the light on and off. So that's why I'm not a massive fan of linking lights to signal logic, just because it gets a bit annoying today. But that's lights. That's the easiest thing to do. Turning on and off lights. What about this this hangar door here? Now this hangar door has an issue because for a long time in this game, these hangar doors have been temperamental little sods. Choose to open and close at their will. They don't seem to have any kind of common sense as to when they open and close. So what I do like to do is I like to attach a switch somewhere on the bridge that controls the hangar doors. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 of them. I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put another one over here. Okay, now bear with me. I'm going to call this one hangar key 1. And I want to treat these switches a bit like your nuclear launch codes. You know, you need 2 ranking officers to open it. Hangar key 2. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to go into our P menu here. We're going to find our hangar door. There's only one on this ship, so where is it? Let's actually search for it. There it is. Okay, and we're going to add a circuit. Okay, because we want 2 ANDs. So we want hangar key 1 and hangar key 2 to form SIG1. So we're actually going to rename SIG1. We're going to call it hangar override. There's hangar OR. There we go. Hangar OR. Hit enter on that to set that. And then we're going to set this hangar door to hangar OR. And we're going to set it to follow. Okay, what the hell have I just done? Okay, let's have a look. Let's see. Right, this should be closed right at the moment, which it is. Fantastic. Now, if I activate this one switch, like thus, it should still be closed. Indeed it is. If I activate the other switch, however, it should now be open. And it should stay open. It shouldn't close and open depending on whether I fly in it or out of it, around it, or by it, or anything. Let's test that theory, of course, with the old faithful Nightshade Mark II. Spawn you in because, you know, you're dinky and cute, and very useful and reliable, faithful, and all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to park my Nightshade in here, and yeah, those hangar doors are not closed, which is great. So yeah, smashing. Okay, let's leave. Now usually when we leave, when the hangar doors decide they're going to close, but they don't, because I have overridden them with signal logic. I have taken away their ability to think for themselves, and I have said, no more, you are under my control now, hangar doors. What do you have to say for yourselves? Well, that's fine. As long as you've got someone on the bridge to control it, as soon as they flick one of these switches, it closes again. You don't need to flick both of them to close it. You only need to have both of them switched in order to open it. Is this a hole, or is that just a really plain... That is a really clear pane of glass. Sorry, getting distracted. So that is the AND function, okay? And you can even change it to OR. I don't think you can do it from here, though. I think you need to add a new circuit and give it a different name. And you could say, oh, one of those switches will open the hangar door. So what I could do is I could put a switch up here and a switch down by the hangar bay and say, or, either or, basically the bridge switch or the hangar switch could open it. But in that case, I'd probably set it to toggle rather than follow, because how does it know which one to follow? If you see what I mean. So if I first of all, if I delete this, okay, this gets very confused for a second. Let's get rid of that one, and let's go down to the hangar area and put a switch on the wall here. I'm going to call this hangar local. Hangar local. There we go. Go to our hangar door, and it's screwed, right? It's totally screwed because it's like hangar or doesn't exist anymore. So let's go that one. We're going to do hangar key 2. We're going to hangar local and or. I'm going to call that hangar or. I keep misspelling everything, but I've spelled it like that now. So oh, that didn't take it because I guess I had a logic of that name already. So let's spell it correctly and then change this to hangar or. And we're going to change it to toggle. Okay. Why toggle? Why toggle? Well, if I switch that, it opens. If I switch it again, it doesn't close. I'd have to switch it another time for it to open. Which, well, why would you do that? Okay. Let's say bridge opens it. Bridge. Open the door. Okay. Door should now be open. Yes, it is. Can we now close it from here with a single switch? No. We'd have to switch it again. That's interesting. And again? No. Ew. Right. There, this is different. We're discovering things here. So, hangar local, maybe because it's the second one in the sequence. There's no control over to closing this door. I wish this door would piss off. So what if I close this on the bridge? Does it now close? No. What if I do this? Now it closes. Okay, let's set this to follow. And this is the best thing I could advise you guys to do, basically, is just play around with signal logic. Try different things, figure out what they do. I've set it to follow. That's still closed. If I do that, it opens. If I close it again, it closes. If I do that and open it, and go up to the bridge, and also open it, does it close? No. Does it close if I flick that again? No. This is interesting. Why not? It's like with the ore, it works the first time. It doesn't work the second time. So let's get rid of that one. So now we've got 2. Well, if I put it, I'll sort it out later. Put it on key. Hang on, key 2. Let's see what a 2 times NAND does. Okay, we're just playing now with signal logic. You know, 2 times NAND. Add circuit. Let's see what happens. Hangar local and key 2. Yeah, sig4. Let's just leave it at sig4. So that's sig4. Follow. What on earth will this one do? Let's find out. It's open at the moment. Let's close it. Okay. Let's flick both, because I mean it's got and in there. So if I flick both of these, it does close it. And then one opens it again. So you could say the bridge has authorized the opening of that hangar door. So if I... That's interesting. That's in the... It's reverted that, basically. Upside down now. If I close that, does it stay... No, it opens again. Because this is set to open. That's set to close now. It doesn't close it. I'm so confused. I have no idea what the difference between NAND and is. That doesn't make any sense. Right, okay. So one's... They're both set to close. And the hangar door's open. Seems legit. This is why I've stuck with basic signal logic. Just turning things on and off again. One switch would follow. That'll do me. I was quite happy with that. If I flick that again, it doesn't close. It's useless now. Right, because I guess we need to flick both switches in order to close it. But it's weird. Why does that one then have control to open and close it at will? So this is like your control switch. Granted access. Denied access. Your hangar door's open. And then that doesn't do anything. If that switch, the first one is off. I tell you what, that is quite a good way of setting like an authorized switch in a control center or control panel or something like that. Like a control tower or bridge. So right, this switch, it authorizes use of said device. You can now use said device, right? And then you've got separate switches down here to actually independently control said device. So that's interesting. That's NAND, apparently. That's, and I have no idea. I'm not even going to go into NOR or anything, because quite frankly, I just like the blind leading the blind on when it comes to signal logic. But hopefully, that gives you a sort of idea-ish. I'm gonna, yeah, or let's do and or. There we go. NOR, hangar local, hangar sig 2, sig 5, and then hangar doors, sig 5, follow. There you go. Now, who has control over this? That's fine. That doesn't do shag shit. How about that one? When you set them both to off, you open now, do you? Now you play. Right. What if I click? Well, you're both off and you open the door. That closes it. Now right. So it's a bit like NAND, except it's inverted. So if this is green, you don't have control rather than it being red, and you do have control. So there we go. It doesn't do anything. So NAND and NOR do the same thing, pretty much, but inverted of each other. Should we even go into XOR? Should we find out what XOR? I don't know. XOR. 6.6. So now you're opening. Right. Close. Except you're upside down now. What do you do if I do that? Right, okay. You open. But I want to open it. I want to close it now from here. I can. That's great. Okay, and the bridge flicks that and it opens again? Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And that's on follow. That's on follow. So XOR seems to be the one to go for because this maintains control regardless of which switch you're using. And that's really what you want. If you want a switch from two different locations to control the same thing. I don't want an authorizing switch that NAND does or NOR does. If you want an authorizing switch, use NAND. If you want a global control, XOR seems to be the way forward. It does get confusing with which way up the switch is, but it's on follow, so you just flick it and it will open or close depending on its current state. There we go. So that seems to be how you go about setting up a multi-point signal. A multi-trigger signal, I suppose I should call it. Whew, this is going on a bit, isn't it? Right. You wanted signal logic. There we go. If you want to invert the follow, you could tick that box. That inverts it. And for some reason that will mean that won't work. But that will. Oh, I clicked it twice. That will. Yeah. So let's invert it. Oh, let's invert it again. And now it's the wrong way round. It won't work, but then it will work. Because ultimately, you want red to indicate close, you want green to indicate open, ideally. So that's now the right way around. Okay. That's signal logic. That's as much as I know about the signal logic. Now, delay, I could introduce the delay in. If I move that above... No, if I move that... hangar local has a time second delay of 3 seconds. And that is 6.7. Yeah, there we go. Right, and now if I set that to 6.7. Now it obviously only deals with one thing here, so I could set that to 6.6 actually. Has a 3 second delay, and then that results in 6.7. So, if I flick this switch, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was more like 4. But it worked in the end there. So yeah, that's how delays work. They're pretty simple. If you want to activate a corridor of lights under a single sort of light sensor or maybe a pressure pad or something like that, if you had the lights set up in a group or certain groups, you could say, well, I want that activate first, and then set a delay 2 seconds or 1 second or whatever. And it will delay it, and so on and so forth. And you just link, you daisy chain these delay switches together. It's difficult to explain without actually showing you, but if I wanted light, forward lights, the switch here, to delay for 3 seconds, let's put in a 2 second delay and call that 6.7, and then that's fine. We just set that to 6.7. That one is another delay, so if you add in 6.7 is the trigger, We want delay 2 seconds, and that triggers SIG 8. And we added another delay, and we want SIG 8 to trigger 2 seconds to go to SIG 9. That goes to SIG 9. And now if we over here, it doesn't do what I want it to. Damn it! In fact, none of these lights are working at the moment. So. Oh. No. No, it's just... Oh, there we go. Yeah! Except you're not... You're coming on... Going off on... Ah, they're just blinking! Oh, no. I'll tell you why. It's because I haven't set this thing up with the appropriate field of influence, and it goes up to there. So if we come out of that, that should turn off in 2 seconds. There we go. And then that one. And then that one. Bingo. And then we go in. 1, 2. Pop. These seconds are really long. Pop. Hey! It does work. So what did we do? We have 3 delay circuits, all daisy chaining together with a 2 second delay between each other. That's delays. That's delays. So if you want like a long corridor of lights to come on as you perhaps walk down them, that's how you would do that. You daisy chain the delay signals in and you link the lights. Oh my god, setting that is just horrible. So do it at your own risk. Well, there we go. I think I've covered everything that I know. So let me just set this back to forward lights, forward lights, forward lights, and they'll come on instantly now when, or if I leave this room. There we go. That's better. Signal logic. It's an interesting little beast. I hope you found this useful in some way. I know it was a bit kind of haphazard, and some of this I'm just figuring out as I record. Anyway, that is signal logic. I think that's all I'm going to say on the subject. Hopefully you found that useful. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. If you've also got more advice or knowledge about signal logic, maybe something I missed, or maybe something I got wrong, please do leave down below in the comments. I don't bite if you criticize me or say, you know, hey, Spanj, you're wrong, you noob. This is actually what this does. Please do, because you'll be helping out everyone in the community. I'm trying my best here with signal logic. It's not an easy subject, and hopefully I've at least covered the basics for you guys. So, as always, if you found this video useful, helpful, enjoyable, entertaining, consider giving it a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And also, if you're new here and you want more Empyrion content, hit that subscribe button. I'm always uploading more stuff on Empyrion, and hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.